I feel as if not many people mention this scene between Armin and Zeke from the AOT ending special 2. And if they did not really know what it meant for Armin and Zeke's characters. Armin says something so beautiful and simple that completely eradicates Zeke's beliefs and philosophy in life. Zeke believes life is only to multiply and reproduce as humans, that death would actually bring relief because you will not have to think about what life means, is, or having to reproduce. Armin, who I think should not have been able to respond to something like this, I'll explain later why in the video, says that life is most precious in the simple moments of just living. Before we continue, if you're new here, I create banging videos on anime, from recommendations, breakdowns, and relating anime to real life. We do it all here. Alright, let's get back into it. We need to break this conversation down a bit before we get to explain Armin's beautiful response, how drastic this moment was for both characters, and why I thought Armin was not able to say anything to contradict Zeke, but still did. Zeke starts the conversation off basically explaining how the world came to be. This is extremely important to see Zeke's thoughts and how Armin was able to change him, so bear with me. He says, before life, all things just came to be and ended with no significance, but eventually some survived. And by some, we mean humans. Humans evolved so much to the point where we call this experience that we live life. He believes the reason humans survived was solely to multiply, to create babies. He continues and says in order for life to continue multiplying, we had to adapt to any environment that leads them to where they are now, the paths. He believes the object of living is only to continue reproducing because of the tragic life he has lived. He says nothing else tries to multiply, like sand, water, etc., and that death goes completely against what we live for. For Zeke, that's multiplying. He explains, Ymir, in fear, tried to escape this pain and death and created a world where death does not exist, the paths, where Zeke and Armin are having this conversation. This is where the question that will eventually spark Armin's beautiful statement comes up. Armin says that he desperately needs to leave the paths to save his friends, that he has not given up hope. Zeke says, why? Zeke says, you really want to continue multiplying that much? Is it really that important to you? He continues with saying, everything is pointless. Every action you make in the end does not matter because eventually we die. Being alive means we are dying slowly. That the moment before death might actually bring us some relief. Relief of no longer having to multiply or trying to figure out what the meaning of life is. He creates a whole philosophy on why death is better than living. This is where Armin cooks. He sees a leaf in the sand that reminds him of a memory of him racing Eren and Mikasa to the top of a hill. He says the weather felt right and he felt the leaves fly around him in the wind. In that moment, he thought, maybe I was born to be here racing them, being last place. Or when he would walk around with Mikasa and Eren around the markets and stopping by feeding squirrels. He thought that these memories that seemed useless in a productive sense were the most precious memories he created. As he says this, Zeke sees a baseball in Armin's hand, automatically thinking of an insignificant memory that brought him a lot of joy and contentment, which was throwing baseball with his old teacher. Armin then refers to Zeke's statement about multiplying and says, this item has no factor in multiplying it at all. Which makes Zeke in turn realize, maybe this multiplying thing is actually not important. Life can be about other things, and he creates awareness on that. He then shapes his thinking into what Armin believed. Life is precious in the moments where you just live. No thoughts about anything in the past that bother you, and no anxiety of the future. Just live, experience, and create beautiful memories. Zeke changes. Instead of fixating on this idea of having to multiply, even thanks his dad for bringing him into the world. After all that has happened to him in his life, which I think is crazy coming from Zeke. I was astonished that Armin was able to come up with a response like this. Why? Because for a couple scenes, we just saw him absolutely talking down on himself. He was screaming in frustration and how much of a failure he was and how he never completed the goals he was supposed to. How did he have the capacity to say something so profound after this? I do not know. He is simply just a great character. This scene let both of these characters be able to move on from their obstacles. Armin was able to cherish his memories of Eren and not hold on to them anymore, meaning he has to do what he has to do and stop Eren. Zeke had a very messed up way of thinking that was able to change in the paths and he lived his last seconds in life in blissfulness before getting clapped by Levi. This scene was just amazing all around. We see Zeke's clear demise and opinion on how life is not worth it. We see Armen's scenes before clearly in the same spot and how much he hates himself, which could lead to him hating the world. But he is able to say that life is about living. Just live with none of those thoughts to stop you. There you will see you can create some precious memories that will make you feel like you belong. If you made it this far into the video, guys, thank you so much for watching. If you liked the video, consider liking and subscribing. I would really appreciate it. We upload every single week here talking about all types of anime. Comment your thoughts on the finale. I'll see you guys later. Have a great day and peace.